Hello, this is a guide for the Mercenary Hanya. I'll be going over how the Mercenary works, how to build them, and most importantly, how to use them. Hanya is a 5-star rarity warrior with a specific classification of him being a Slayer. Hanya is a back attack type with his AoE being a 1x3 line. I'll now talk about his skills at max rank. His first skill is named Crimson Smoke. This skill gives Hanya buffs if he has enough agility before the battle starts. If Hanya has more than 80% agility, he gains provisional HP that scales off his attack. If Hanya has more than 100% agility, he gains both the provisional HP boost as well as a decent attack buff that keeps on growing. Both of these buffs are not bad, however the weakness is that they last only a short 20 turns, causing these buffs to likely end during the second round. Also, if you're curious, no, the attack boost does not increase Hanya's provisional HP. I don't know why it doesn't do that. His second skill is named Super Blitz. This skill deals a single instant of direct additional damage that scales off Hanya's attack and agility. Additionally, for every kill Hanya scores, he gains an additional turn at the end of the round, allowing him to attack again when that time arises. His third skill is named Ranging Strike. This skill deals a single instant of fixed additional damage that scales off Hanya's attack. Also, just to clarify, it doesn't matter if Hanya's fixed damage or direct damage scores a kill. As long as the enemy dies from his attack, he will gain the additional turn. His fourth skill is named Taunt Ignoring. This skill makes Hanya ignore enemy taunts and then meet a spell card effect. However, this Taunt Ignore lasts a comically short 6 turns, so you can only utilize his Taunt Ignore if you're the first player to go in battle. I'll talk more about this glaring flaw in the pros and cons section. For skill level, I'll quickly run down the most important ones. His plus 12 is an incredible power spike as it increases AoE tiles from a 1x2 to a 1x3. This slightly further reach can be the difference in getting a kill or not. And finally, his plus 15 is a decent skill spike as it max out his damage output Hanya deals, allowing him to kill enemies a bit more consistently. In my opinion, you could stop leveling up Hanya's skill level at plus 12. At that skill level, the AoE increase combined with his damage scaling is enough for Hanya to function. Plus 15 is also decent for that small consistency increase, but honestly, it's not required. For his runes, the optimal setup would be to run one flat attack rune with a subset of attack percent, and one attack percent rune with a subset of flat attack. Additionally, both runes should be at minimum 6-star runes with epic plus rarity, as well as their stats being equal to or higher than the ones presented on screen. For his mythic rune, I would recommend running either a penetration and agility mythic rune, or double agility and mythic rune. With either choice, their subset should be agility, though don't worry if you don't have the subset, it's not make or break. For his Insignia of Creed, I would actually recommend getting them as each insignia on a 5-star mercenary only costs a single 5-star book. Pretty cheap if you ask me. Though don't pick the option to use 500 diamonds. That price is still way too expensive to be worth it. Just use the 5-star books. You can get a ton from the honor shop. Once you have enough 5-star books, his insignia should be the following: Reaper's Scythe, Shadow Armor, Hurricane, and for the last 2 slots any of the following works. For soul gear, I would recommend leveling them all up to be level 10 for that one additional skill level. I also recommend upgrading his weapon to level 25 for that additional attack increase. And for Hanya specifically, it's a requirement that his amulet is level 25 with a refinement of double agility. This is to help him meet the agility requirement on his Crimson Smoke skill, but more importantly, it is to max out the damage scaling on his direct damage. On that note, ensure that your Hanya's agility is greater than 100. If not, you can do one or more of the following: upgrade his mythic rune, change his mythic rune to double agility, or switch his subsets on his regular runes to agility. Pick the choices that is most cost effective for you, but personally, I would refrain from switching the subsets on Hanya's regular runes unless it's really the only option you have left. For rank boosting Hanya, I would highly recommend it, as building Hanya requires you to squeeze as much attack out as you can. Hanya's main purpose is to snipe fragile enemies behind the enemy frontline, as well as being a decent snowballer due to his ability to gain additional turns. Overall, the best team to put him in is a warrior team, since they can provide many protective buffs to a defensive lacking warrior. Now for pros and cons. For pros, Hanya has pretty solid AoE tiles. Additionally, since he is a back attacker, this makes him less likely to get stuck in roadblock tanks that are often placed in the front. Another pro of Hanya is that he deals a solid amount of direct damage, assuming that he has 100% agility. Based on my Hanya, he can roughly deal 60,000 direct damage, which is more than enough to one-shot squishies as well as some tanks. Following up with the talk of damage, Hanya can also deal a solid amount of fixed damage. Again, based on my Hanya, he can deal a respectable 50,000 fixed damage. And finally, the last pro of Hanya is that his additional turns can come in clutch sometimes. I've had matches where I was on the verge of losing, only to be turned around by Hanya saving my life by killing an enemy slayer before the second round started. However, some cons are that his first skill, Crimson Smoke, isn't too helpful to Hanya at all. Sure, he gives himself provisional HP and a decent attack boost, but you know who else can do that much better? Mary White. She can provide an incredible amount of provisional HP on top of a ridiculous damage boost, death guard, and a full-on revive. I really don't see a point in this skill as it just doesn't provide enough damage nor protection to Hanya. Another con of Hanya is that even with his solid damage output and AoE, he's actually quite inconsistent at gaining those additional turns. This is because Hanya struggles to kill common HP restrained enemies and strong roadblock tanks, whom both are very common in high elo arena. Thankfully, this issue is less severe in world arena, but in regular arena, Hanya would struggle to find kills. For some further elaboration, yes, Hanya cannot deal with HP restrained enemies. This is because excluding his normal attack damage, Hanya can deal a maximum of 3 instances of damage, and if the enemy has a guard, it drops it down to 2 instances of damage, both never enough to kill a full health enemy that relies on HP restraint. Additionally, Hanya cannot deal with common roadblock tanks such as Lucius or Lane. To deal with Lucius, he either needs heal ban or multiple instances of damage, which Hanya doesn't have. And to deal with Lane, you commonly need around 250,000 direct damage to one-shot him, which again, Hanya doesn't have. A somewhat minor issue is that Hanya deals fixed damage. Fixed damage is typically on the weaker side because Death Guard is so common nowadays. However, thankfully, this issue is quite offset due to Hanya's ability to deal direct damage. A bigger issue is that Hanya's Taunt Ignore lasts just as long as my attention span, or in other words, not long at all. Like, I'm not even kidding, what were they thinking when they made it 6 turns long? This short duration limits its use to only arena where it specifically enables a Hanya opening by allowing him to ignore the enemy's Amita spell card. Yes, that's the only incredibly stupid and specific case where Hanya's taunt ignore actually does something. In short, Hanya's taunt ignore is too damn short to really do anything. The last con of Hanya is that he does not have any immunities. This makes him very vulnerable to debuffs, especially CC debuffs such as Velfrin's Stun, Claudia's Charm, and Indra's Burn. For some synergies, Hanya's top synergy is Mary White. Mary White's offensive and defensive buffs combined with her ability to revive warriors makes her the best support to pair with Hanya in both regular arena and world arena. White is another good pairing to have with Hanya due to her ability to bestow a powerful immortality buff, preventing Hanya from dying to attacks. Edith with Blessing Bestowl can also give Hanya a solid damage boost along with boosting other supporters' power. Edith's utility can get even better if you have her Authority of Goddess skill, enabling her to be an excellent roadblock tank. Overall, Edith's just really good. Rakus can also bestow Hanya HP consume damage, but due to its short duration and Hanya's low base attack, he cannot utilize it to its fullest. Though honestly, Rakus is still not a bad option to pair. For some good matchups, Hanya kills Squishy without too much of a problem, but that's pretty much all of his good matchups. Now to his counters. Mercenaries that counter Hanya include many common mercenaries that Hanya simply struggles to kill. These include tanks such as Freyla with provisional HP and guard, Lucius, Lane, Granhilder, Ser, and Ymir. Hanya also struggles taking down HP restrained enemies such as AOG Ida, Dione, Neptune, Enma, Claudia, and Wester. And for the cherry on top, Hanya also struggles to kill Wester's Black Knight and is unable to kill Ragress and enemies buffed by Rai due to their unique immortality buff. A notable matchup that is quite painful for a lot of warriors is Lane, due to his ability to strip Mary White's buffs off of them. Therefore, Hanya would struggle twofold against Lane. Additionally, due to Hanya not having any immunities, it makes him very vulnerable against CC effects such as Velfrin's Horror Stun, Claudia's Charm, and Indra's Burn messing up his targeting. And lastly, Hanya is just really squishy, even with Mary White's buffs, so he just kinda dies to Slayers. In my opinion, Hanya shines the most in World Arena, where powerful legends, exalteds, and mythics would far outclass him. I would give him an A rank in the World Arena. However, in the regular arena, I would give him a C rank mainly due to his inability to deal with several common mercenaries. Honestly, there simply exists much better warrior options compared to him in that PvP mode. And finally, in Guild War, he also gets a C rank because his taunt ignore lasts way too short, making him get outclassed by Anastasia in both damage and taunt ignore utility. And finally, the most important question of all, should you build Hanya? My answer is leaning on the side of no. Hanya isn't bad in the World Arena and can be considered a solid side grade to Anastasia. However, in the regular arena and in Guild War, Anastasia's a consistent taunt ignore, debuff immunity, and higher damage output far outclasses Hanya. In conclusion, Hanya isn't game breaking nor is he weak in any way. He's balanced but also does not bring anything new to the table. Overall, Hanya works best in World Arena and only in World Arena. Build him if you want to have fun with his additional turn mechanic, but I would prefer if you spend your diamonds on getting the more versatile Anastasia. And that's all. Make sure you check the comments if I made any changes to this guide, but other than that, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.